Men go through their own life stages. Men. I'm not talking about boys. Because you have some men that are 40 years old and they should already be in the king stage. King stage means that he's already financially stable. He's already at a place where he has built his home, or he is ready to build his home. He is ready to get married. This is the reason why I say if a man is 40 and over and he's not married, he's a no man, okay? 9 times out of 10, there's always exceptions, okay? But I'm talking about it as a general rule. If a man is 40 and over and he is not seriously dating somebody with the intentions of marrying her, he just been jumping from one relationship to another, he's damaged goods. Emotionally stagnant. He's stuck in the childish night stage.
So this is actually something that I have heard a lot of women agreeing with.
Damaged goods.
And a guy who's just playing around. And first of all, I want to drop a poll because I just want to get a feel for what the audience thinks here in the room. The poll here, is it a red flag for a man to be over 40 and single? Now, I don't know if even women nor even men really understands what it takes to build yourself up as a man and really be qualified and ready to run, manage, lead a family. Because it takes a bit, it takes a lot. So I actually want to get my brothers here perspective, because when you hear that coming out of this young lady's mouth here, and many here in our culture, hey, yo, what's the first thing you think?
I think I 50% agree with her. You know, I think that if I'm 40 and I'm not financially stable, that is a red flag. If I'm 40 and I don't have a relationship with Christ or striving to have a relationship with Christ, that is a red flag. If I'm 40 and I'm still living at home or still renting an apartment with my homeboy, that is a red flag. But I also think the 50% where I disagree at is singleness is not a curse and marriage is not the answer. One of my good friends, Pastor Darius Daniel, said that, and I think sometimes we have to step back and before we assess someone simply because of their age, let's have a conversation with that individual and have an understanding of who they are and what they're doing. And so for me, you know, I'm financially stable. You know, I have an established business. I'm walking the line with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Not perfect, right? But the reason why I am single today is not because of another woman. It is because of Anthony O'Neal and some of the immature decisions that I've made in the past when it comes to actually dating. I could have been married and I should have been married, but I was immature to do it the right way. And so now that I submit myself to wiser, older couples who are in the kingdom, who are guiding me along this journey, I'm going to be married soon. Don't get it twisted. But I do believe that there is a part of this, what she's saying is true. Any of my brothers who are in my circle, and if you I think honestly, if you're over 35 and you're financially struggling, we have a deeper problem. Period.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Trap, what's your thoughts on that, brother?
I look at it from a similar perspective, and I hear him, and I'm like, dang, that's so good, because I'll use myself for an example. All right, so all right, let me say this. People can be in love with the aroma of marriage and being together, but not know what it costs, right? That cost can be very expensive, right? And so I look at myself and say, maybe a couple years ago, like I was dating this woman, right? And the residue of what I had came from was still in the pot.
Facts.
Still in my heart. Right, I come from the streets. Like trauma is embedded in who I am.
Facts.
Right, and so I had this woman really like love on me in a way that I had never experienced in my entire life. Talking praying over me. I'm talking support at the highest level. Patient. It's the same thing that Galatians 5:22 talks about. Right. Fruit of the Spirit was in her, right? And so for me, my way of loving her was telling her about my past. My way of loving her was taking on lavish trips. My way of loving her was like having her around my kid, but I never expressed it because the trauma in me said that if you express this now opens up a sense of vulnerability that exposes you in a way that when I was 16, I got set up by a woman who wound up having a gun put to my head, which wound up making me shoot a man, which is how I go to prison for 10 years. And so my past experiences, because we can only live life through the lens of the experiences we've been through until we get into a connection with God.
Facts.
And so I wasn't all the way there yet, right? And so I had to tell that woman in the moment, like, yo, you know what? Like, I can't love you the way that you need to be loved because I don't have the tools.
Wow.
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 I don't have the tools. This is 2 years ago.
Wow.
Like, yo, I don't have the tools. Now, I'm a 40-year-old man when it comes to success, when it comes to business, when it comes to loving my kid. Like, I'm top tier. But emotionally, I'm bankrupt.
Yeah.
I'm bankrupt.
Would you say spiritually you was bankrupt too?
Yeah. Because I was seeking, but watch this. I wasn't seeking in wholeness.
Right.
My heart posture wasn't right.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And so when I told her that, what I did was, I don't know if it's the right or wrong way, but I isolated myself. I went to therapy. I went to seeking that wise counsel.
Yeah.
That married couple that's married and they seek God, Pastor Don, Eric Thomas. Like, I'm seeking these men and I'm laying at their feet like, bro, like help me. Help me figure this out, because in my mind, I knew that woman was my wife.
Yeah.
But now you got to do the work on what it takes to be a husband.
Right.
And so now you got to get in the book and understand. I just asked my partner, I said, what is love to you, bruh? And so he answered all these questions. I said, but we can't gauge love on that. If we gonna really gauge love, we got to gauge love on what the book tell us love is.
Yes, sir.
It is gentle, it is kindness. Watch this, it's long suffering.
Yeah.
It's patient. So I had to redefine my idea of, oh, this is why I couldn't love her, because I had the wrong definition. Because where I come from, my definition of love was, are you willing to die for me, dog? Are you willing to go to jail for me, dog? You willing to risk your life for me, dog? You willing to risk your freedom for me, bruh? Or if you ain't willing to do that, nah, we good, bruh. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I had to transform my idea of it. And so I agree with her in ways, but I also understand we also got to take into account the value of that man and what he been through. Like, because if he's never been in a situation where he's truly been exposed to love, how can he give what he's never received? I can love my child because that's my blood, that's flesh of my flesh, that's blood of my blood. I'm a tap. That's an innate nature. But to love someone who doesn't come from the same blood as me, that's a whole different level of vulnerability and exposure that I have no idea what it is. Right. And I had to go out in the wilderness and learn what that was and seek that through the word. And now I come back and be like, yo, okay, I have the tools now.
Yeah.
And now that I have the tools, now I judge myself on how do I move forward.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that the first woman that you think that could have been your wife?
First woman in my life that I ever said I love you to. I said it after I've been to therapy, and after I was like, yo, I love you.
How did that feel when you said that?
Man, I felt vulnerable.
Yeah.
I felt scared. I felt defenseless. I felt at the whim of what she said next.
Ooh.
Well, wait.
First off, let me tell you
Yeah.
something. I am also in my first vulnerable relationship. First one. And it's a feeling like in your chest when you telling some business that you ain't never told before.
Yeah, man.
Facts.
And you saying something that you probably ain't never even told your closest boys.
Facts. Or your parents.
Right?
Yeah.
It's really like ripping off a little Band-Aid. Especially like us, because you know, Trap, that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll get a cut. It's really supposed to be major surgery. We just put a little Band-Aid on it.
Some Neosporin.
Put a little Neosporin on it.
Good.
But you know, you rip it off, it's still bleeding a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's a very the word vulnerable space to be in. And was that the wake up call though? Was that the wake up call that it's time to get to work? What was it?
It was when I realized how my life felt without her.
This was after she was gone.
Yeah. So my partner 500 asked me a question one day, and he said, I have a few people that I really talk to, and I was like, dog, like, he asked me, he said, how would you feel if she went dated somebody else? And the ego in me, the man who I was at the moment, like, I'm Big Trap, man. What you talking about, dog? Like, I'm caked up. I'm top tier. Like, what you talking about? I'm top of the food chain out here.
Big dog. Yeah.
I'm in Atlanta, dog.
Right.
Just
Talking about, I got access.
Yeah.
I got access. So initially, my flesh didn't I responded in the way that you would respond. And I remember just going through my life, and don't get me wrong, I was dating women, and like nothing, no disrespect to nobody, but I was like, that ain't her. Nah, she wouldn't have did that. And so I would do speaking engagements, and we still had minor talk, and I would look for her. She wasn't there, and I was like, damn, okay. And I just remember just saying like, all right, I remember going out the country by myself, and I said, nah, she should be here. I never want to not spend a moment without her. And so I came back and I was like, yo, this what we on. And then, you know, it was me then trying to bully my way in her life.
Ah, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, wait. Let's walk through this.
Yeah.
Let's walk through this because so it's because this is stages in this joint. What you got, Ryan?
Well, because before that, because the ladies, they hear that. They hear from men sometimes. They got a good man, what they think is a good man, and he comes to her, and he's like, hey, right now is not the best time.
Yeah.
So is that the best decision? Once a man, he knows he's got the right woman, but he doesn't quite got it all together yet. Is that the best thing for the man to do, is to walk away from that relationship?
So I don't think we will ever have it all together.
Facts.
We'll never have it all, because we are hunters. It's in us to lead from 4 different ways. We lead financially first, because that's what helps us feel confident in the world.
Right.
We lead through strength, because that what helps us feel confident. But then we have to lead emotionally and spiritually. Right. And for me, the spirituality has to be the foundation, because God gives us the steps. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I don't know if I did it right or not. I'm, telling her that I'm about to go to therapy and get myself worked on. I don't know if I did the right thing. I probably could have told her, hey, let's do it together, because she was willing to do it with me. Right. But when I stepped away, it devastated her, because you got to realize for 2 years almost, like, we did everything together.
Yeah.
And so now we wasn't together for a year, and now she has to go through life without a person who she thought was her partner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you never know when you separate, even though I did it with the right intention, right? Because as men, we have this idea that we got to go into isolation to rejuvenate ourselves.
That's true.
To get right. We
That's
think
true.
like, I
Drop
don't want
everything.
nobody around me.
Yeah.
I need to be quiet. I don't need to hear. We don't know how to communicate if we go back to the Garden of Eden. God creates Eve after he gives Adam, but he first gave Adam an assignment. Here's your assignment, bruh. And he said, you know what? He not made to do this by himself. Right? But the one thing that they lacked, the reason why everything went south, was because Adam had the assignment, but he didn't communicate enough with Eve. He didn't communicate enough. There wasn't enough communication. Hey, put that down. We got an assignment. You're my help. Assignment. We're on assignment. Move. Right? And so he now becomes a victim of him not communicating enough. That's what that is. So for us, we don't communicate enough, because we want to isolate and be like, man, I ain't tripping, man. I'm about to do this, and then she'll be here when I get back. Or if she not here, we get into the ego thing. And at 42, I've learned that when you sow from the flesh, you reap from the flesh.